First up right now at 5:30, the man accused of murdering his wife is in critical condition after an attempted suicide. Drone 3 was flying above the home that Fotis Dulos lives in Farmington when police arrived there this morning. Channel 3 was first to break this story shortly after noon, and here is what we know right now. When officers arrived at his home on Jefferson Crossing, Drone 3 caught an officer pointing through a window. Dulos was seen sitting in his car with obvious signs of medical distress. Officers forced their way inside and immediately started CPR.
Yukon Fire for a medic and an ambulance expedited response to number 4 Jefferson Crossing. That's number 4 Jefferson Crossing. No further details are available.
Farmington police say this was an attempted suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning. Shortly after, Dulos' lawyer, Norm Pattis, released a statement saying Fotis was en route to a hospital with a pulse.
Typically, CPR will be performed for a period of time. If there is any type of life present, the patient would be transported to the hospital, and that's what happened today. I don't have the exact time of when they determined whether or not Mr. Dulos had any signs of life.
Dulos was taken by ambulance to Yukon Health Center in Farmington. He was then taken by Lifestar helicopter to Jacobi Medical Center in the Bronx. Now, we know Fotis Dulos is being treated for carbon monoxide poisoning. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Matthew Campbell is live. He is at Hartford Hospital, where, Matthew, I understand you just spoke with the doctor about all this today.
Yeah, Mark, and they're saying that this appears to be a high-level exposure to carbon monoxide, and that is why we are seeing things like that Lifestar flight. So the most important thing for survival right now is oxygen. Just get it to the lungs. But even if Dulos were to survive, he could be facing some long-term, permanent even, health consequences. The call to Fotis Dulos' Farmington mansion came at 11:54 a.m. First responders saw Dulos in a car parked in the garage, saying he attempted to take his life by carbon monoxide poisoning. This is an odorless, invisible gas, and Hartford Hospital Dr. Lynn Farrugia says the effects from a high-level exposure could be apparent within minutes.
Initial effects would be a little bit of confusion, lightheadedness, some nausea and vomiting, a bit of chills or kind of muscle pain similar to a flu.
On Eyewitness News at noon, you saw first responders performing CPR, and what you saw then was Dulos' life being saved. Police say they were able to get a faint pulse.
So because it is a lack of oxygen, really, that affects the body, there are certain things that do become irreversible. Once the heart has been damaged, once the brain has been without enough oxygen for too long, there can be irreversible symptoms.
By 4 this afternoon, Dulos was being flown to a hospital to be further treated for the carbon monoxide poisoning. That hospital will likely have a hyperbaric chamber. The therapy increases the amount of oxygen the blood can carry. Patients enter the chamber and breathe the air as pressure is gradually increased. But sometimes patients are in such bad shape, they might not be able to handle it.
It doesn't always help in the immediate setting, and some people honestly are just too sick or unstable to actually put them in a hyperbaric chamber, because it does require quite a bit of coordination of care and pressurizing them to the increased atmospheric pressure there in the chamber.
So again, a very fragile situation for Fotis Dulos, and even if he does survive, doctors say he could be facing long-term heart or brain damage. Right now, all of that, though, hinges on the exposure and the duration of the exposure to the carbon monoxide. But right now, that remains unclear even to investigators. That's the latest live here in Hartford tonight. Matthew Campbell, Channel 3 News.